marketplace. So it's, as we flick the switch for the creator economy, start clicking these things together, people will be able to utilize the marketplace, especially when it comes to the creators creating items and selling. So what we want to do is make sure that that was on the radar. It wasn't slated for, I guess, how long would it have been slated away for, Pete, before you to really accelerate that build?
How long? Since when?
No, I'm saying that the marketplace wasn't slated to come out for a long period of time. It was something that was accelerated due to the fact that
the marketplace was not in the original plan, because the original plan was to build the NFT platform, and then I think it was in February that you and I and my team had a discussion, and then I think somebody from my team says, hey, if we come up with the platform, but then there's no place for people to buy and sell stuff, then it wouldn't make sense. And this is not really applicable for Ethereum specifically, because Ethereum still has marketplaces, right? But to the chains that we will be deploying to soon, they don't have marketplaces, and which means if people launch NFTs there, there's no secondary market, because I mean they could mint and then it ends there because there's no secondary market, which is why we switch gears from building multi-chain to building marketplace first, and then after this we're going to go build multi-chain and then deploy all the chains. I mean, not all the chains, take that back, all the chains in our roadmap.
Yeah, and I think the important thing to note is to draw the parallel to what I was talking about before in relation to the fact that this is also an MVP, or a minimum viable product, and it gives you an indication of what will come. And that's the most important thing, is to show that these products are at that point where we can show you the MVP versions, and we've got more things coming, as you know, in the coming weeks. But I'll just go through a few of these questions. George74, I think the line, having enough funds to finish a project has never been so important, especially since many alt-based projects supposed to be doomed during this winter. I wonder, do you still have enough funds since you intend to upgrade VALT to AAA, which was not planned at the start? And when do you expect serious revenue to run through the VALT, providing funds for future growth of the company? So great questions, and they're very topical questions at this particular point in time as well. And I think the thing that's really important to know and consider is that if you're actually building a project, you do have to have that balance, right? You have to make sure that revenue is coming in, and you also have to, when building any product, regardless of the market, establish that product market fit. So just to touch on the AAA side of things, so for a simpleton like myself, trying to have that explained by the art team, how it's explained is that what happens is they take what you would see today. For example, let's say that this new MVP was Calanova, which it's not. Let's say that it was Calanova. What they do is the difference between what it is and AAA is that they keep working on iterations to upgrade and improve the amount of features that you see on those buildings, the resolution, the clarity. They just keep refining it and refining it and refining it until it becomes that AAA quality or level. So in relation to where do you stop, for example, if that was your question, you would actually, of course, be switching on products and services that bring in revenue, and that would determine how far you go, because if there's no product market fit, then of course it would be a futile thing to do. And when do you expect serious revenue to run through? And just that elephant in the room, you talked about a number of projects being doomed during the winter. Every project will struggle unless they've got lots of real world revenue coming in. So our challenge, as is the case when we started, as is the case when we've been through multiple down cycles, is to really assess what's going out and what's coming in, and you have to sort of make adjustments, and you have to make sure that your focus is on products, users, and revenue, which is the three OKRs we're focused on this year. And I think the thing is, again, if we were a year away from having any of these products or services coming to the market, you'd probably turn around and say, we're just not going to make it, or it's just going to be very, very difficult, or maybe choose one thing. But the thing is, we did start a long time ago building these pieces, and now it's a matter of getting these pieces together as quickly as we can to make sure that you've got that ongoing ability to not only build out, but again, there's not a lot of projects that have actually got an MVP, especially in the VR realm, out there. So if you can navigate your way through rocky waters, you are able to put a bit of light, distance between yourself and the competitors, and that's obviously the aim for us. So I think to your point about a lot of projects not making it, we've heard projects kept all reserves in Ethereum. We've heard other projects that have stated that they just won't be able to have the capacity to build out the products that they're trying to build. We've talked to a number of projects that have sort of asked how long it's going to be before our tools are ready. So I don't think that's a sign of weakness for those projects either. If a project comes to you and says, look, can we use your tools? I think that's just a sign of the times. And for us, it's a matter of really trying to make sure that we get tools into the creators' hands as fast as we can as well, because the more quickly we can organise for builders to start building and deploying on our platform and in our ecosystem, the more robust it becomes, because they're also working on building communities and products and services as well. So, I hope that answers the question. How are you planning to ensure stable growth in users? That's good. Not Twitter hype chasers, but real users. It's an interesting one for everyone building metaverses. Not a very high amount of users on Sandbox, Decentraland, and the other garbage platforms. So it's a very good question. And I think the thing is that I think it's already been identified by numerous builders that tools are the most important part, right? Because you can sign up 100 different brands, partnerships, all the rest of it. It means nothing if they can't actually build or deploy anything, right? And we did hear a lot of people sort of talk about NFT worlds, and a lot of VC money flowed into NFT worlds from other projects because of the fact that they were using Minecraft, and therefore they had established tools, and it allowed more people to build more quickly. And in 6 months, they got to where other projects had taken 4 or 5 years to get to, which gave people huge faith. So the answer to your question, Lars, is to make sure that there's a reason to get people to come back in. One of those, as I say, is to get the tools for the creators to be able to create the content, which is the big issue. Not all of these worlds are starved of content. And the second thing is to make sure that you're rewarding your user base with engaging experiences. So again, the tools allow you to build those things rapidly, but community is key, and the cultures that you're building are key. So we have to focus on making sure that we're very heavily focused on projects that have got a strong focus on community building and giving
versions ahead of the release candidate channel, which is the public channel. That's a good segue, Ben, because I was just about to say we've had a couple of really good stable builds come through, and the shop owners have been into the most recent one, and they've had a look at that. But we just had one issue where we had some weird skin tones, and we just didn't want to push that all the way through until we figured that out. The build we got today fixes that issue, so I'm just going to push it all the way through. So basically anyone who's got access at the moment to the Vault, they're going to get a new release now. I'm about to push it right now, and it's got a heap of fixes in it, a heap of changes. You'll see the new store layouts. There's a lot to explore. The climbing is much better, much more responsive. And the big one is if you move your head around now with inside the headset, your feet will move. You don't have that problem with the lower half of the body not rotating. So some really cool stuff in there, and I really look forward to getting people's feedback.
Yeah, it's really encouraging, some of the stuff that's coming. And then don't forget, we've talked about the lore and the avatars and stuff like that. So we could already spoil the avatars, what they look like to you right now, but what we're trying to do is wait until the new MVP comes out, because what you've currently seen up to date with the movement of the avatars and the aesthetics of the environment, it's kind of a hard thing to get your mind around going from that to the level of quality of these avatars, because they're very, very high quality. So once the new build comes out, it's not as much of a stretch, and you can sort of say, okay, I can see where this is going. But the avatars are going to give you a pretty good indication of the type of quality you're going to see in a final product in the space as well. So that's pretty exciting. JD Crypto, you always ask good questions. With the Luna debacle, has it affected, changed how RFOX will approach and grow its finance? So it's a very good question, and don't forget, our job is to set up a number of different ventures and show you how they click together, and then give you the tools to be able to create stuff yourself. So we know that we won't ever be the biggest finance player on our own platform. We know we'll never be the biggest game developer on our platform. We know that we'll never be the biggest NFT producer on our platform. What we do is set up the tools, give you a showroom to show you how those tools can be used, and then we say go, and then give you the opportunity to combine the usage of those tools. And again, we've already got people inquiring with big followings about how to do TV and NFTs. And I know we've talked to death about this, but some of you might not have heard it, but they're asking how you would set up a page, have your videos and your content, as well as also having NFTs. Now, they could be in the form of PFPs, they could be social gifting, they could be memberships, they could be all sorts of different things. So we're now talking to interested parties on how to combine those in one place, because that's something that's not commonly offered out there. So again, what would happen is when we set up a template for that, or show you what it looks like, because we've got projects that will launch very shortly using that, you'll turn around and say, hey, I've got a much better idea than that. And we're going to say, go for it. If you've got a better idea and you think you can do something better with those tools, that's the whole purpose of why we exist. And the quicker we sort of hand that over, the better. But so going back to your question, I think that the finance section has lots of room for potential growth and improvement and all the rest of it. But as I say, it'll be once we open it up on the open road that you'll get other projects sort of plugging in and using that. But the other parts of that question on does it affect it, we've always been scared of this stuff, which is why we haven't really, I guess, rapidly expanded or gone out in a rush and a hurry to try and put on 9,000 different pools, because it's obviously you've got the legal issues, and you've got to be make sure that you're responsible in what you do as best you can be. There's all sorts of things you have to take into consideration, from taxation to hacks to everything. So we take it very seriously. With the tools that you're creating, will you be able to create an NFT that is a 3D object that can be ported into the Vault apartments and sold in shops? Yes. I've answered that correctly, right, Pete? I'm not misreading that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
yes to your
yeah,
questions to me.
You'll be able to create a lot of stuff, Face, that so a simple example to that would be there will come a time very shortly where a person could say, I'm an awesome 3D couch designer and I want to create sofas and couches that can be used in people's apartments, and I'm creating those as NFTs, which will be sold in the marketplace, that can be used in the apartments. And technically, depending on what the other metaverses want to do, as we use Unity as well, most of the other metaverses are also Unity based. There is a strong possibility that these metaverses will combine to make sure that items can be transported across metaverses as well. So that's up to the individual metaverses. Can we see new updated pools in RFOX.Finance this month? New updated pools.
Actually, Benny, on that one, just to let everyone know that the RFOX BNB farm is ending in another 8 days, but we still have the VFOX staking pool live till somewhere till I think second week of June.
Okay, thank you, mate. That's good. I have Quest 2 and no access. There you go. Who has an Oculus but don't have access to MVP yet and want one? Only 2 people. Got to get Oculuses, guys. They're not that hard to get now, and they've come right down in price as well.
They still are underway, Ben. I've sent a note back, but they're underway. So we've got the details and we'll get them set up ASAP.
I think
Okay.
one of them just bought the Oculus like today, so that's a
Oh,
great
good.
thing.
I like the enthusiasm, though. It's good.
Jesus, when I saw that guy, you're a slacker, I just, when I paged down, I just saw a bald head and I thought, oh, there you go. Someone else has made a meme of me yelling through a megaphone, and it's another random bald dude. By reading Twitter and influencers, it seems that crypto world is dead for the next couple of years, but based on your words, projects are still developing, partnerships and products still creating. You think the blockchain project can succeed even in the middle of the crypto winter? So, George, the thing is, I think there's also a website, we've mentioned this before, about, I think it's called Bitcoin Deaths or something like that, and it measures every time people say Bitcoin's dead, which is generally the catalyst for the whole space. When you get the very loud voices talking about how crypto's done and this whole thing's finished, that's generally the sign that you're getting closer to the bottom. I think it's been declared a write-off. It's never going to happen. It's trap technology. It'll never work. So many damn times, it's ridiculous, and that generally starts the turnaround. We've got a lot of institutional investors in the market now, which we didn't have in the last cycles. It was basically all retail. So the cycles are very different. The markets are very different than they were through the last cycles. We're still trying to ascertain what that means and how the markets will behave differently. And you've seen people like Plan B go out and talk about his cycles and models, and then they just got whacked on the head. But the fact is that all of that data previously was based on predominantly retail investors. Institutional investors don't behave the same way. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. But as far as the technology is concerned and people still building in partnerships and progression, this is the answer. A lot of companies will struggle. They'll give up. They'll say, I'm not interested anymore. Doesn't have the appeal that it did. Other companies will turn around and say, this is my opportunity. This is the time to get busy and set things up. But ultimately, if every company was to turn around and die that was in blockchain, then it just proves that it wasn't what everybody thought it would be. But ultimately, that's not going to happen. The progress is too far. And I've just done a couple of recordings for panels and conferences in the last couple of days, and we've talked about we've talked religiously about the fact that the building is more than ever, and we're now seeing in the Web 2 space, it's very rare that you will find a company in the Web 2.0 space of size, of top like a Fortune 500, that doesn't either have a chief of metaverse or a blockchain research department. All the bigger companies are now firmly entrenched in watching what's going on, researching who's doing what and how it's all unfolding. So the thought of it being dead or over or something like that couldn't be further from the truth. But the markets, we don't know how long it will last. There's too many outside factors in play this time as well that make it impossible to predict. If we do go into a global recession and the markets are fearful, then you don't know. It could last a little bit, but we don't know. We've got no one knows. What will it take to get the Vault graphics to the level of the ad with the daughter and the architect? So, Subby, I think that type of graphic is not that far away as far as ability to achieve that. But what's really important, just to be very clear, is to make sure that we've got the 4 quarters and the Genesis area in the middle, as you've seen in the pictures, all built out to a certain level first. Let's say, for example, like to at least the same level as the MVP that's about to release. And then what they do is the team just go all in on sharpening resolution and focus and cleaning it up and making sure that each iteration is better and better and more realistic than the previous. So it's just work. It's
I would say we're there in the next release, Ben. I reckon when we do this next drop with the new scene, I think we're pretty much at that level already.
Well, if you look at the avatars when we finally give you a peek in the next couple of weeks, I think that's another thing I can spoil as well. So one of the things that we've talked about previously, and I know that a couple of projects have talked about doing it, but the avatars that we have in our ecosystem for the citizens for RFOX can 100% double as a governance token, meaning that it gives you the ability to vote on the development of your quarters based on your avatars, to which quarter you belong. So this is something that's going to be exciting, and I think that more people in the space will start doing this type of stuff. But we're just really looking forward to rolling out some of the backstory and some of the things that can be done. But if you do see those avatars, they're well ahead of the graphic level of the ad. They're a long way ahead. So I think we'll surpass this quickly. Will we still be getting information on Choob utility for tournaments before redemption for avatars begin? If yes, what would be the lead up time before redemption starts? Days, a week, etc. Seeing if we've got.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep.
Madame, I would really love to give you an answer on that, but right now we are focused on testing of the latest build, and that relates to Choob utility and tournaments, because we really need to ensure that it works the way we intended. With the previous builds, we've had problems with people exploiting it for either cogs or coins even, and we can't release anything like that when tournament prizes are at stake. So it's still dependent on the testing of our latest build. So I'm not willing to commit to any time frame just yet.
But Madame, in further to your question on the other side, for the redemption side, we've currently got the avatar mint passes sale listed for next month. So we will start sort of spoiling the lore and all the rest of it. But as you know, that sale's for the OG avatars, and we have slated that early the next month would be the redemption and also the second part of the sale. But we will definitely, without any apology, look at how close those go together based on the market and also the product market fit and how much this traction we've got with the lore and the community getting involved, because this is going to be the first time we see the community really get involved in what we're doing and have a participative role to play. So I think we've still got a little bit of time before the redemption starts. But again, if it goes like wildfire, the market turns around really quickly, we'll be ready to be able to do that a little bit sooner. But as it's slated, we've got June for the OG mint pass sale, and then we've got early July for the second round. Anything new coming for KOGgers, in particular 1, 2, 3 edition holders?
Yeah, so I guess over the maybe in a month or so, we'll start releasing news of the new games, which really will be interesting for first, second, and third edition KOG and Choob holders, because the game really features characters from those editions, and the utility in this game has game impact, unlike unlike Slam, where everything is equal. Here, your assets will have impact on your performance in the game.
Will we see a domestic vault next year? It's a very good question. Definitely by next year, but we've had 2 inquiries in the last week as well about how people get involved in taking in helping to set up a local instance of a vault. So in your neck of the woods, Piyush. So there's people asking how they can get involved to set those up, but our focus firmly is on getting this one out first and making sure that we've really got a really quality project, a product that people love using on the market, and then that will dictate the time frame to how long we can go. But effectively, once we've built the vault, building another instance is not hard. It's a matter of making sure that we've got the demand there for it in whatever country we decide to go first. In regards to KOGGU and the avatar proposal, has it been discussed between red and blue, with red KOGGU being higher value, or have both red and blue been categorized as one? Cheers. So for the redemption, we've bundled KOGGU in as one because there's such a small number of them. But as far as what they do from an avatar perspective, we have not released any information on that at this stage. But there is a difference, obviously, in the price and the scarcity and rarity. So we honestly have not worked that out yet. We will let you know when and if we do. What kind of things will those with avatars be voting for in their quarter? That's a great question, Chris. So without giving away too much, but I know you want some alpha.
I replied that, Benny, but no one cares about my reply.
I'll reply anyway, but basically, when they act as a governance token, it would allow you to be able to decide and have a say in what happens in the development of the quarter. So if it's to do with transportation systems or artifacts or monuments or builds, we want to make it that there is some extremely added value to holding an avatar through us than there is through avatars that would be allowed in. For example, if you had a Bored Ape and you came in, cool, welcome. If you have one of our avatars to give you a right, and again, I don't want to spoil it because when we start talking about law, I think there'll be a bit of a divide between the 4 quarters from this perspective, and that's something that's extremely exciting, and I think the community will decide, you as individuals will decide which quarter you feel a stronger affiliation with or naturally gravitate towards based on the law. So I think that some of you will have a want to have an avatar from a particular quarter, but you have to take into consideration and remember the fact that when we do the mint pass sale, you don't know what quarter you're getting that avatar from. So you may end up in a situation where you're looking to sell your avatar and buy another one or trade or something like that to get the representation from the quarter that you want. And the quarters will be distinctly different in their, obviously in their aesthetics, but also in the civilizations that populate those quarters and what they mean. I'm pretty bloody excited about it, actually. I'm trying not to say anything more than that, but I want to. Any idea when KOGs Arena Slam S1 will end? The scarcity of the Arena KOG reduces with each day that passes.
Again, that's in discussion because we really want to ensure that what happens with the new Slam editions we don't go through the same experience that we did with the present one. So it's all dependent on the testing of the latest build. But with that said, the designs are ready, and maybe we can spoil some of those next week.
There you go, beauty. Do you plan to rent any of the local vaults in the future as entire space, or will you operate solely? So we've actually got an answer to that, George. We're getting closer to establishing how the structures will work with server ownership, etc. We've got a clear pathway or plan for that, but at the moment we've got people that are asking if they can, what would it take for us to allow that person to be given that vault for that country? And so let me wait until we get a little bit closer to properly launching this current vault, because again, when we start talking about law and what's possible coming up with tools and stuff, they all tie together. So it will give you a very clear picture of what's to come. Wen KOGGU and RFOX2020 giveaway. I think we still have, I don't know how many KOGGUs we've got. I know that it's been said a million times, but we do have a number of KOGGUs still left, right, Pete?
Yes, I believe we're supposed to give one away, which we already have. Yeah, but I think I need to check whether it's been sent or not. Maybe not, but yeah,
All right.
we can give away some more.
Let's aim to give away a KOGGU on next week's call. We'll do
Okay.
it. We'll do a giveaway. This is a question from Craig. I see that you posted in the game's announcements Choob burning for avatars, yet we have been told multiple times that this isn't the final format. No Royal Supersets are considered, and surely the team are moving away from having to burn foil sets. Have you posted this now because it is confirmed as the final format for burning avatars? So for burning for avatars. So I think he's referring to whether you have to burn them or whether you can just claim them, right?
He's asking about whether the Royal, if there's been any thought given to Royal Supersets, if they're still part of just the rare tubes or the ultra rare tubes, or whether they're going to be a separate category, and whether or not there's been any discussion about foil sets not being burnt.
Red Pill, I think we've already, did we tackle that or not yet? As far as released? Is he still there?
Well, we did say that it's still not finalized yet, so.
Yeah, it's not finalized. I mean, before that whole timing will start, we will provide all the information around this question.
Cool. He's saying it because it was posted again today. What tubes you need for however many avatar mint passes you want. So he's asking whether if that's final or that's just being put out.
Right. Okay, so we'll work towards getting that final list out ASAP. But again, we're not going to really start to heavily promote it until we've got the MVP. So we've still got some time, is what I'm trying to say. We're not going to promote it until we've got the MVP new version of the vault out, because, like I say, from the graphic perspective, and then we can start dropping lots of information in relation to the avatars. Because at the moment, like, we're talking to the internal team about the law side of things and what the avatars can do and stuff. And the first question I always get asked is, where can we see it on the website or whatever? And we say we haven't released that yet. But the thing is that these avatars are going to be to have a lot more utility than people think that they will have. So we've just got to be really clear to make sure that we do that. Perhaps we can get a couple of the guys that make videos in the community to sort of go through the law after it's published and sort of help us to put together a couple of informative videos explaining it as well. Spoilers. I can't wait to spoil the avatars. We will be able to do that. When's the MVP officially slated? Luke, I always can't remember what we've told people and what we haven't. The new version.
With the new scene in it.
Yeah.
It'll be in June. We're going to have an internal build at the end of this month, which will be a final build. We're actually going to have a rough build in the next couple of days that'll be fully featured. And then we're aiming for the end of the month to have an internal build that we'll start using. Shop owners will get it soon after that, and quartermasters, and then we'll push it down to everybody else early in June.
Okay, so there you go. Maybe we can actually we can start spoiling the avatars, what they look like and stuff prior to that then, because it won't give us a lot of leeway. So I'll work with the team on how we can do that to make sure that we've got we can start dropping them in calls like this as we do. If the last 2 quarters are sold out after the avatar mint, how will that work in terms of who gets what rarity in those quarters? Okay, so if the last 2 quarters are sold out after the avatar mint, how will that? So what will happen is the avatar, it'll be a mint pass allocation, right? So you'll get, there'll be mint passes for OG avatars. There'll be mint passes for, and tell me if I say any of this wrong, Pete, but I don't think I am. You'll get a mint pass for an OG avatar, mint pass for a normal avatar, and then just 1 mint pass for all apartments. So the allocation of an OG mint pass will be given to the people that buy the shops that will be kept aside for those people.
Yes, and rarity will be random, so you won't know what they get until they claim it.
Yeah. I'll be burning a shit ton of common, uncommon, and rare, some ultra rare as well, going to be a whale. Wow. Yeah, I think, to be honest, Hanford, I think I would be heading to be the same as well. What's going to be really interesting though, and we'll talk about it more when the law comes out, is if you do manage to scoop up a number of avatars and they're revealed and they're from multiple different quarters, so you've got tons covered. I'll be very interested again from the game theory perspective of, do you try and accumulate a squad in 1 quarter? Do you try and have hold on to representation for each quarter, knowing that one could be popular and you might be able to sell it for a higher amount? And what about the little cliques in our community, the people that get along really well, if they take a different view on which quarter is the right quarter to have avatar representation? That's going to be very, very interesting. I'm very interested to see how that will go. Akamoto for life. Yeah, I think wait till the law comes out, because they've all got a different backstory as well, very different in their views and what they stand for. I think it's going to be cool. Since when did you become an RFOX team member? RFOX going to 0 now. There you go. How's that for a pat on the back? In the traditional world, you get a congratulations, and in the crypto world, you get a, oh, we're doomed. Can we trade out your van? Okay, there you go. For trademark reasons, bat van. I think he has a sticky note on his monitor that says, do not move tubes. Gosh, what was that? It's maybe the person's here, so I probably shouldn't say that. But I think we had one person that moved. What was the record in the timeline, Pete?
So that person is here, and that person happens to be the latest member of the RFOX team.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, you should be prepared to say it out, shouldn't you? How close to the claim date was that you moved the tubes?
I think it was about a week, or even less than a week.
Luke.
Let me follow up a question. How many RFOX did you lose for moving that?
Yeah, 44,000, somewhere there.
Ouch.
So, Luke, just to give you clarification, being new and all, you'd have to stake your tubes for like a 90-day period, and if you move your tubes during that staking window time frame, you lose your ability to claim your reward. You have to keep them in there till the end. And good old Wen KOGGU here waited, what, effectively 83 days or thereabouts, and then said, I'm going to move me tubes, and forfeited his reward.
It wasn't deliberate.
So we hired him.
So yeah, exactly. So if you're going to get hired, unstake your tubes now.
We need to have all perspectives considered, don't we, from the internal team? all that we need to have all different personality types covered. I think we've got to jump off for another meeting, guys, but thank you very, very much for attending. All I can say is that it's been a hell of a week, hasn't it? In crypto, things change very, very quickly, and from one week to the next. Again, I think the projects that have got products close to market have an advantage, but ultimately it's really important that we are that every project's really focused on making sure you're getting in real users and real revenue, which is extremely important. So you'll see us move with pace now that we've got these things close to MVP stage and ready to be launched, and looking really forward to getting the feedback from you guys and seeing you interact and use the products and services. So thank you very, very much for joining us. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you for choosing to spend your Wednesday with us. Have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll see you back next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great one, guys.
Yes, Benny.
Yes.